Interviews in Spanish can be tricky. And let's face it, you run the risk of embarrassing yourself.
¿Tiene los certificados que acrediten sus estudios?
Uy.
That is, if you're not prepared. That's why I've compiled a list of the most common Spanish interview questions, along with some really powerful answers so that you'll be able to ace your interview in Spanish. Starting with number 1, ¿Cómo te enteraste acerca de este puesto de trabajo? How did you hear about this position? Now, this is a super common way to start an interview, so you're going to want to have some answers prepared to explain how you found the job. For instance, un trabajador de la empresa me envió la oferta. A worker from the company sent me the offer. Or, encontré la propuesta en LinkedIn. I found the offer on LinkedIn. And yes, they do pronounce it LinkedIn. And after you answer that, you're probably going to be hit with the most common icebreaker of any interview, which is, ¿Qué nos podrías contar sobre ti? What can you tell us about yourself? You're expected to talk a bit about your training and your work, but also about some things outside of your life, so that way the interviewer gets a sense of you as a full person. You might want to respond, Tengo una diplomatura en gerencia. I have a degree in management. Trabajé durante 2 años como vendedor de software. I have worked for 2 years as a software salesman. Or to talk about your personal life, en mi tiempo libre me gusta practicar mi español y pasar tiempo con mi familia. In my free time, I like to practice Spanish and spend time with my family. But even more important than what you've done, they also want to know about your personality traits. So they might ask you, our question number 3, ¿Cuáles son tus fortalezas y debilidades? What are your strengths and weaknesses? And in this case, it's very common for them to ask for 3 of each. So make sure to have a few ready in your mind. For example, soy muy detallista y eso hace que algunas tareas me lleven más tiempo. I'm very detail-oriented, and this means that certain tasks take me more time. Or, soy muy responsable. Nunca dejé pasar una fecha límite. I'm very responsible. I've never missed a deadline. Now, learning these phrases is only half the battle because you need to be able to also understand what they're saying. And honestly, at least for me, the most intimidating part of the interview is being afraid that I'll mishear a question or that I'll be completely lost. And honestly, the best way to overcome this is to just simply get lots of listening practice, especially from real-world content like YouTube videos or movie clips. This is super, super helpful, but the only problem is that it can be a bit exhausting over time because you have to watch the video, pause it, look up a word in the dictionary, return to the video, you might get lost, etc., etc., etc. And the best solution that I found is using a third-party app like FluentU. What FluentU does is it takes Netflix clips and YouTube videos and music videos and all these things, and it converts them into language learning lessons. Take, for instance, this video, which shows an actual real-world interview in Spanish. You can watch the video, and whenever you get to a word you don't know, you just click on it for a full definition, plus examples of that word used in other videos. I think it can be a very powerful tool for training your ear and building your vocabulary, so I think you should really check out the free trial we have in the description below. You will see improvements in your Spanish, I swear. Now back to the question. And now number 4, ¿Por qué te interesa este trabajo? Why are you interested in this job? Simply let them know why this position is appealing to you. And don't just talk about salary and benefits. For example, me interesa desarrollar mis habilidades en una empresa con su trayectoria. I'm interested in developing my skills in a company with your trajectory. And me gustan las oportunidades de crecimiento que ofrecen. I like the opportunities for growth that you offer. But it's not only important that you're interested in the job, but also that the employers are interested in you, which is why they might ask you, ¿Por qué deberíamos contratarte? Why should we hire you? And this is a key moment because it's really the biggest opportunity you have to show how you're special, how you stand out from the other candidates. For example, cuento con la experiencia y el conocimiento necesarios para ayudarlos a lograr sus objetivos. I've got the necessary experience and knowledge to help you achieve your goals. Or, creo que el hecho de ser bilingüe puede agregar valor a su equipo. I believe the fact that I'm bilingual can add much value to your team. Now, if you make it this far in the interview, you might be hit with the trickiest question of all. ¿Qué salario tienes en mente? This is obviously a pretty sensitive question because you don't want to give an answer that's too high or too low. But there are a few tricks that you can use to get around this. I found a 3-part formula that works pretty well. For example, you can suggest a range of numbers. For instance, entre $1,500 y $1,800. Between $1,500 and $1,800. After, you can state clearly why you think you deserve this salary. For instance, creo que esa suma es acorde a mi experiencia y habilidades. I believe this amount is in accordance with my experience and skills. And third, if you think that the number depends on how much responsibility you have, then you should make that clear as well. For instance, espero que el salario sea acorde a mis responsabilidades. ¿Cuántos miembros tendré a cargo en el equipo? I expect that the salary will be in accordance with my responsibilities. How many team members will I be in charge of? Now, I know this is a ton of phrases and you don't have to learn them all right now. So we've prepared actually a free PDF. It gives you all of these phrases so you can practice on your own and really learn them. Which brings us to our final question. ¿Tienes alguna pregunta? Do you have any questions? And the answer is yes, you do have questions, because asking questions shows that you're interested in the position and that you're thinking critically about it. So try to think of some in advance. For instance, ¿Cómo sería un día típico de trabajo para mí? What would a typical workday look like for me? Or, ¿Cómo continúa el proceso de selección? What are the next steps in the selection process? And like I said, the best way for you to practice these is to listen to real-world examples and interviews. And lucky for you, we've actually done a full breakdown of an interview with tennis legend Rafael Nadal. And you can check it out using the link on this screen. So we'll see you over there. You will learn a lot.